We're going to start by looking at a matrix, which is any regular arrangement of numbers arranged in rows and columns. We use them and probably unaware that we're actually looking at a matrix. For example, when you have a look at a receipt, for example here at Eastlands, you might have a look at your rows in your receipt where you've got milk for $3, your baked beans for $2.39, your butter for $1.50, and your crumpets for $2. So they're actually in rows. So we have our information here, and this bit here forms our matrix. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 rows and 1 column of information. Let's have a look at another example. We've got some villa rates, and we can see that we have 2 different rates here for peak and off-peak in 2 different rooms. So our standard room would be $290 in the peak season and $240 in the off-season. If you want a better room, it'll cost you $350 in the peak season, and off-season, maybe because the weather's not so good, then it will cost you $300. Similar to the example that we did earlier in the introduction, you could also look at the footy scores for the teams that you follow. St Kilda, this is arranged in 2 rows. First one is St Kilda's information, and then the second row is Richmond's information. And then we've got in our columns, we've got our goals, our behinds, and then our total score. So let's turn these into a matrix. So a matrix looks like this. We're going to display ours as square bracket matrices, and the information that we've just talked about could be displayed like this. So when you are unfamiliar with the information that you have, you would write what each of the rows refers to. So for example, we've got $3 for milk, so we're going to put milk outside. Later on, when we know our matrices, we don't need to write that information, and we know that the first row refers to the cost of milk. Our last row is crumpets, and we would know that already. So at the moment, until we become really familiar with writing these, my suggestion is write down all the information for what the rows means, and then for what your columns mean, write down what they are above. So here we have our standard prices, peak and off-peak, and our deluxe rooms. And here we have our goals, behinds, and points. So you can see 1 row, and then 1, 2, second row, and then we've got 1, 2, 3 columns. So in fact, and I hope you've noticed already, that we talk about our rows before we talk about our columns. Okay, could get into trouble if you talk about columns first, so row before columns. Some people say Roman Catholic, rows before columns. We can look at a matrix and we can give it an order, and that is given by its dimensions in terms of our rows and columns. And so if we have a look at this here, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 rows, 4 by 1 column, and so we write it 4 by 1. For our villa information, we've got 1, 2 rows, and we've got 1, 2 by 2 columns. For our football information, we've got 1, 2 rows by 1, 2, 3 columns. Each number in a matrix is called an element of the matrix, and so we can find our element by its row and column position. So we always do our row first, row position first, second our column position. So if we look back here at our football information, row 2, 1, 2, column 1 refers to the element number 7. If we were looking here at our second one, row 2, column 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, we'd be talking about the number 300. Let's have a look at some that we can do ourselves and put these in our book. So you should be with your teacher, volume 1.1 now. So we're just going to give our order. So it will be rows times columns. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 by 1, 2 rows. If we have a look at this one, 1, 2, 3 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4 columns. 3 by 4. In our last example, we've got 1, 2, 3 rows and just 1 column. Another way that we could test your knowledge of a matrix is we might ask you the order, which we've just done. We could ask you where a particular element is and where might the location of a particular element be. So let's do that. What is the order? So rows before columns, 3 rows, and our columns are 1, 2, 3, 4. What element is in row 3, column 2? So here's row 1, 2, here's row 3, and we're looking for 1, 2, column 2. So it's number 2.9. Alternatively, we want to maybe find the location of a particular element. So here's our element 2.2. It's in row 2, column 1, 2, 3. And the final example that I would like to go through is one in a bakery. We've got 3 bakers, Tom, Sarah and Joseph. We'll give them TS and J for their symbols. And so one morning we find that Tom bakes 40 loaves of bread and he has made 15 pies. Sarah bakes 28 of each and Joseph bakes 45 pies only. And he's not making any bread from that information. Represent the data by a 3 by 2 matrix. So we're going to have 3 rows and we're going to have 2 columns. There's one and there's the other one. So it's kind of going to look like that. So you might choose to do something until you get familiar with that. So it's 3. So it's 3 lots of one type of information. Tom, Sarah and Joseph. And then we've got columns. We're talking about bread and pies. Okay, so Tom makes 40 loaves of bread and 15 pies. Sarah makes 28 of each, and Joseph just bakes 45 pies, and he doesn't make anything of the other one. So that's the way that we would write a matrix. When you're familiar, you can chop off that information that's on the outside, because you know that this second column and the last one here is talking about Joseph and the number of pies he makes. We could alternatively represent this data by a 2 by 3 matrix. So it's 2 rows, but then it has 3 columns. So the same information could be represented a different way. So you need to be able to recognise how to write that down. Again, 3 ideas. So we might have Tom, Sarah and Joseph, and then we've got our bread and pies in rows. So Tom's bread, we know, is 40. Tom's pie is 15. Sarah's is 28 of each. And Joseph is making 45 pies. So it's the same information. This one is a 2 by 3, but this one is 3 rows and 2 columns. What is the location of the element 15 occur in your first matrix? So where is the location? Where? And what does it represent? So where is it? Here it is here. It's in row 1, column 2. What does it represent? It represents the number of pies that Tom makes. Okay. Your turn now. I'd like you to go to page 29 and do questions 1A to F, question 2, question 3 and question 5, and then go back to Schoology and see what you have to do next.